A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. When he went out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, 'You also go into the vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right.' So they went. He went out again about noon, and about 3 o'clock he did the same. And about 5 o'clock he went out and found others standing around, and he said to them, 'Why are you standing here idle all day?' They said to him, 'Because no one has hired us.' He said to them, 'You also go into the vineyard.' When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his manager, 'Call the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and then going to the first.' When those hired about 5 o'clock came, each of them received the usual daily wage. Now when the first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received the usual daily wage. And when they received it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, 'These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat.' But he replied to one of them, 'Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to this last the same as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will be first, and the first will be last." Making comparisons seems to be human nature, and we can be pretty brutal to one another, especially when we're envious of what the other has. We might have heard things like this said, "You won the lotto. Why did you buy that lady a car? You don't even know her. I'm your own child. You should be buying me things. Why did she get what I did? She didn't do anything." Thank you all for being here and lining up alphabetically. Now we're going to start checking you in, and we'll begin from the letter Z. Wow. Are these things kind of tough to take, huh? There's a certain sense of entitlement that comes across in these kind of emotional reactions to these things. And why do we feel entitled? Why do we make comparisons with one another? You know, if we look at the whole spectrum of lives all around us, there was nobody's life who is equal to ours. Everyone has a different degree of happiness, sadness, material things, money. And we place a lot of focus on these kinds of things. And rather than being happy for the lady who received a car from a stranger, from a lady who would maybe walk her children to school every day, maybe it was miles. Maybe she hand carried her groceries from the market. Perhaps she didn't have. And a person who saw a need sought to fill that need. And why would we be jealous? One day, when we might experience an overabundance of something, whether it be a food, maybe somebody brings us 3 bags of fruit because they picked their tree, and perhaps it might be our favorite fruit, but you think, "I love these so much, I don't want to share them with anybody." And if you decided to keep them, and you did try to eat them, and you ate them every day, you may not have been able to finish them all. and many would have been spoiled. And what a waste, and what a shame that no one else would have been able to enjoy that. When we have an abundance of money, and you feel the urge to treat somebody to something, whether it's a meal or maybe you've gone shopping and you wanted to buy them a new toy, whether it be a child or an adult, because adults have toys too. And those are nice little things, and maybe more acceptable ways of someone else sharing. But maybe when it gets past a certain monetary value, our eyes open another way. I mean, what happens when mom and dad buy a home for the youngest child? What if everybody else is married and has their own home? And yes, by their own earnings. But perhaps the youngest was in need. Perhaps the father or mother thought, before we die, we want to know that all our children will be okay. And they looked around and saw the different needs in all their children. And to one, they may have set up a college fund for somebody. Another, they thought to buy the grandchild a vehicle. And for another, bought them a house. And maybe for their handicapped child, set up a trust fund to help them through the rest of their life. And we can often find comparisons popping up into our minds to say, gosh, well, mine's not worth as much as that one. Why should he or she get that? Now, God wants us all to enjoy and to have an abundance. And he wants to give everyone what they need. But what I need, and what my sister might need, and what my friend might need, and what you may need would be very different. We need to do what we can to remain humble and to see all the blessings in our life and to enjoy what we do have and be satisfied. And when we can, share our abundance with others. And maybe it's not even something material that you can put in your hand. It doesn't have to be food or a gift. But what about the gift of time? What about the gift of your love? Those things are something that we could not put a price tag on. My name is Ceci Holland, and I'm inviting you to live like you believe.